Join Samantha and Hans at the next Macro to Micro Options Power Hour, held each Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Registration is free. Scan this QR code or click on the link in the description.
Consensus is growing that rates are going to plunge. I'm not in consensus. So I understand that Powell, his days are numbered. It's May of 2026. And today Powell was once again browbeating him, called him stupid so many times in a 5-minute interview, I couldn't keep up. It was embarrassing. That's not really how a country is supposed to be run, as it's bashing our monetary leader. So
he didn't take the bait though, eh? He didn't take
the bait. So he took the high road, which is pretty typical. He is actually—
How can you? What do you even say to that? How do you take the bait? How do you even respond to that? It's so crazy.
I'm going to hike. But okay, so Trump is out there talking about, this is very important. He's talking about the Fed should cut rates by 100, 200 basis points. And so that the Treasury, that's why the Treasury can't term out the debt. Let me explain that. Two things. First of all, why does Trump desperately want Fed to cut? It's because of our enormous fiscal spending. So the budget reconciliation bill that's in front of the Senate right now that passed the House, and it's a nightmare as it relates to more and more. So it's all gas, no brakes, which is why Elon came out, killed Bill. Massey's trying to stop. Anyway, the point is, the reason is because under Trump, we have had an explosion, not a surprise, but we have had an explosion in the budget deficit. So it hit $316 billion in May, the third largest amount in history, as much as he likes to bash Biden. By the way, Biden was horrible with this too. And in the first 8 months of the fiscal year of 2025, the cumulative deficit stands at $1.36 trillion, the second largest on record outside the pandemic. So why do I emphasize this? Because we have these rates which create debt interest servicing on that rising debt. So instead of bonds catching a bid because we've got fiscal restraint, fiscal restructuring, stop spending at the congressional level, or cut spending, we don't, right? Bonds really can't catch a bid. And I mean, they have every opportunity to catch a bid right now. We have not conflict vibes, we got war vibes, and the serious kind. Regional that can turn into global. We have SLR relief, which is fancy terms for letting bank balance sheets, big ones, absorb more treasury holdings. But they're going to buy the short duration, not longer duration. So that doesn't really solve the problem. At least in the short term, all it does is help Besant fund this fiscal spending, because that's his job. And the other thing is, they're talking about this oxymoronic act that just passed called the Genius Act. That is also a way to stuff bonds into these vehicles. But the problem isn't that they can't come up with very creative solutions to deal with demand. Foreign holders are tepid in their demand and or selling. The problem is the supply that is still coming because of the numbers that I just told you. So the budget deficit, third largest in history this past May. First 8 months of the fiscal year, the second largest on record outside the pandemic. That's Trump. So of course, what is his only avenue? He really has control spending at the congressional level. And by the way, we're going to talk about shutdown risks or rescission risk, which is in lieu of shutdown, he can actually force some archive law that he could bring out. Short of getting Congress to have some self-restraint, the other option is beat Powell to a pulp, right, to cut rates, which is not responsible. This is running it hot. So it makes no sense. We have no reason for the Fed right now to be proactive. And by the way, their nature is reactive. They want the data. They don't have the data. Trade wars are inflationary. Military wars are inflationary. And the last but not least, another way to force rates down is recession or a growth scare. Military war is definitely a growth scare. We have earnings that contract, and then we have jobless claims that start picking up higher and higher, and then we have a recession. So his approach, Trump's approach to beating up Powell, does nothing to affect the goal of lowering yields. Nothing.
Join Samantha and Hans at the next Macro to Micro Options Power Hour, held each Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Registration is free. Scan this QR code or click on the link in the description. Watch the full Options Macro to Micro Power Hour episode by clicking on the video here, and subscribe to LaDucTrading YouTube channel for more content.